I think the most exciting reason to get involved is because we're an application of blockchain to like a normal person use case that really needs it and really wants an easier market. And if you want that market to be easier, then you should get involved in our project. So if you're in crypto and you're excited about getting more people involved in crypto, this is something you should be excited about. And if you're in art and collectibles and you struggle with the difficulty of that market today, this is a project you should be excited about. And those are reasons that I'm really excited about it.
And what's the currency that you're using for this? What's your native currency?
So we have a native token. It's called BitX. And the token is used really to create network effects. So in order to use the title registry, you have to pay tokens. And in order to use the applications on top of it, you have to hold tokens. And that means everyone who's involved, because they're holding tokens, wants the project to succeed. And that creates evangelism, and it creates network effects that encourage everyone else to become users. Because if you're holding tokens, you want other people to use the system, and you encourage them to do so. And that's how we increasingly become the standard. You have a vested interest in doing that. Does that make sense?
And other than that, have you provided any rewards or incentives for people to get involved early?
Yes, so we reward tokens to stakeholders and artists and auction houses and bidders who use the platform. And there's many different rewards and grants that we'll be giving to encourage people to build and use.
And how are you funded?
So we are doing an ICO right now. We're funded by some top venture capital firms today, including Bessemer Venture Partners and FJ Labs. And we're doing an ICO to raise additional capital for rolling out to the whole market. And
so a slight problem that it would seem to me is that a lot of the people who are involved in this market will not necessarily be au fait even with the internet and how that works, let alone this kind of level in the crypto world. How do you tackle that issue, people who might be trepidatious about coming in and using this kind of system?
So I hear that a lot, that people in this market might not be receptive to new technologies. I have a lot of experience in this problem because I've started and sold a business that is a technology business to them. And I think in some ways that's true, but in most ways it's not. If you give people a big enough value proposition, then they'll accept it and they'll learn what they need to learn in order to use your technology. So that's the first thing. For example, if you really want to buy a piece, you're a collector of something and you cannot get into an auction, you're going to learn to use the technology you need in order to get in. But we're also going to bring a lot of new bidders in because we're letting people with newfound crypto wealth buy art and collectibles, and they already know how to use crypto. And then the final thing is that the users themselves don't necessarily have to have crypto. So in the case of bidding, they do, but in the case of an insurance app or in the case of an artist's app, the artist can manage the title, or the insurer can interact with the blockchain and provide like a very simple interface that looks like any website to a user. We're infrastructure that powers applications that can then be delivered by kind of industry stakeholders that can then be delivered to users in a more convenient interface. The important thing is that there's a title registry, not that normal people are interacting with that title registry directly. Does that make sense?
So what would you say are the main challenges that you're facing at the moment as you run up to this?
I think the main challenges are that this whole crypto market is new and rapidly changing, and what you learn about how best to build things or how best to explain what you're doing changes every month, every week, and every day. And so adapting along with that is just a big challenge, but also an exciting challenge, and one that I find energizing.
And how scalable is that? I mean, what's your transaction rate if you're looking at this being used in every auction house in the world? That's a lot of places to be sitting on there.
Yeah, I mean, we have a great tech team. Our CTO is out of Microsoft, and we're pretty confident in our ability to build a system that can scale. In the case of Biddable, which again is our first application on top of the title registry, that doesn't have to be that fast. It's about registering to bid and paying with cryptocurrency. The bidding itself happens on the auction house's existing systems. And so we don't need to be real time. That helps scalability a lot.
What's the goal? I mean, what would you hope to be doing beyond the bidding, and what's the next kind of big dream?
So our goal is to make the art and collectibles market more fair and much easier. And the reason it's not always fair, and the reason it's really hard today, is because there's no title registry. It's just basic infrastructure. And so we want to create a more fair, easier art market with fewer fakes and more value for the beautiful, authentic pieces that people collect, whether that's art or whether it's wine or whether it's watches.